The three words that inspired Arsenal's greatest Champions League night. If the magic moments didn't reveal enough, as Mikel Arteta put it, two images displayed the scale of Arsenal S3-0 victory over Real Madrid in the Champions League quarterfinals. One was the scene in the dressing room, where staff congratulating the players could barely be heard over the noise. It was raucous. When Declan Rice came in with his Man of the Match award, he was laughing about how Nicolas Jover told him to cross his first free kick. A few meters away, Carlo Ancelotti could barely be heard for very different reasons. The Real Madrid manager's voice was unusually low for his post-match press conference, which he didn't stick around long for. Ancelotti has rarely been so subdued. That was ultimately because of another message relayed by Arteta that was heard loud and clear. That was to make it happen. The Arsenal manager repeated those words 3 times after the game, and he'd said them a lot beforehand. They got through. Arsenal displayed all of the conviction that Arteta has sought to distill into this team over 5 years. There are times when the Basque can sound absurd as he talks about positivity even after dismal setbacks, but results like this are the point. This is why he didn't sign a forward who he didn't think was the right personality for the squad. It is about conditioning performances like this, where all doubt and hesitation are gone. Everyone is of a singular mindset. Arteta was proud of what that represented, especially as regards his will to continue to make steps. His team have made a leap that is eminently trackable. In the build-up to last year's quarterfinal against Bayern Munich, the staff could sense a nervous tension within the squad. It was the first time the club had been involved in a game of that magnitude for 7 years. The feeling was that they weren't quite psychologically ready. There was too much of a hang-up about the Bayern badge and the name. They lost that tie much more meekly than they should have. As Arteta mentioned on Monday, though, that Bayern quarterfinal was essential in terms of going through these experiences. It meant that by the time this Madrid game came around, there was none of that nervous tension. By contrast, many of the staff noted a striking confidence within the team. It indeniably helped that Arteta had spent a lot of time deconstructing Madrid, ensuring that the players saw them as the flawed champions they are, rather than just this aura. There was more to it, though. Arteta had made a specific point of stating that Arsenal had beaten City and Liverpool in the last 2 years, so there should have been no concern about the level. It was just about taking that next step. My feeling was that the team was super convinced, and we had the trust that we could do it, Arteta said. Rice's first goal was duly as symbolic as it was significant. With the game still in balance, but Arsenal beginning to feel it was tilting their way, they won a 56th-minute free kick in a propitious position. The frequently referenced Jover has obviously done a lot of analysis on the numbers behind such situations and was urging Rice to cross it. How cold he when the team hadn't scored a direct free kick since September 2021, and Rice had never scored one in his senior career? It was the logical choice. What often makes the difference in displays like this, however, is that you have to go beyond logic. You have to make it happen, as Arteta would say, go to levels you're not expected to. So, as Rice increasingly fancied it, Bukayo Saka helped make up his mind. If you feel it, go for it, the winger said. Rice did exactly that. So he made it happen in spectacular fashion. Set piece again, indeed. And again, and even better. Just 14 minutes later, Rice was up again in a similar position. He was now brimming with confidence, and the execution was even better this time. If the first got you purring for how it was whipped around the wall, this got you off your feet for how it just soared right into the top corner. It was dispatched in Lionel Messi-like fashion. The next 5 minutes, then were up there with anything the great Barcelona teams subjected Madrid to. It was an almost perfect period off play, as Ancelotti's side just couldn't get out of their area. Something had to give. The delivery of Rice's goals ensured there would not be as much attention on Mikel Merino's goal, but that was a finish of the highest quality. To drive it into the corner with such controlled power was reflective how Arsenal overwhelmed Madrid. This was also where there was more logic to the victory, and such merit to Arteta's preparation. One of the key messages that Arsenal worked on before the game was to minimize mistakes, especially in midfield. That's because Madrid's best ability is to suddenly swarm you in the center and then release the fastest attack in football. There were enough warnings in the first half, as Jude Bellingham was hustling for the ball in the center only for Vinicius Jr. or Kylian Mbappe to be bearing down on goal seconds later, far from allowing any doubt to seep in from such breaks. However, Arsenal rallied. Arteta made a few crucial tweaks, and such transition stopped. There was another crucial element, though. Madrid's midfield just couldn't move in the way Arsenal's could. Champions League. Champions League.